Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Now with today's main headlines. EU official announces plans to combat anti-Muslim hatred. Death toll climbs in severe monsoon season. Urgent action needed. Refugees terrorized in Bangladesh. Mass grave in Sudan's Darfur reveals 87 civilian bodies, UN reports. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, this is Hussein Jawad. You're watching Shia Waves live from Imam Hussein TV 3 in London. The European Union has concrete plans to combat Islamophobia. Marion Lielis, the new EU coordinator on combating anti-Muslim hatred, said on Thursday, while stressing that the Muslim community in Europe is the largest religious minority, she announced the preparation of a document that maps the phenomenon of hatred against Muslims. Leilis said EU will mainstream policies to combat anti-Muslim hatred in various sectors such as education, security, migration, and many employment areas, as part of plans to combat Islamophobia. She further noted maintaining dialogue with social and international institutions as well as raising awareness among citizens as policies to combat Islamophobia. The severe monsoon season affects many around the world, in particular Asia, as the insufficient infrastructure such as regions susceptible to flooding, displacement and destruction. The escalating death toll is a tragic consequence of drowning, waterborne diseases and structural collapses during floods and landslides. Reports state that the past fortnight has seen extreme rain that has caused major floods in several countries across Asia, including India, China and Japan. As a result of such severe weather, thousands are left with no choice but to evacuate. This morning, South Korea was on high alert as a storm battered the capital, Seoul. Scientists warn that climate change has increased the risk of floods worldwide. Many countries are struggling to mitigate the dangers of extreme weather. Human Rights Watch reports that the Rohingya crisis, originating in Myanmar's Rakhine state, which has led hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims seeking refuge in Bangladesh. While the camps provide temporary respite, they also harbor disturbing human rights abuses. Reports of arbitrary arrests, extrajudicial killings and sexual violence against Rohingya refugees are exceedingly common. The vulnerable position of women and children exacerbates the severity of the crisis as they lack access to poor healthcare, education and basic amenities. Refugees in Bangladesh face environmental challenges and natural disasters. The region is prone to cyclones and monsoons, putting the refugees living in makeshift shelters at risk. The massive influx of refugees has strained local resources and created tensions between the refugee and scarce resources, limited job opportunities and competition for services have fueled resentment and animosity, hindering efforts towards peaceful coexistence and the provision of adequate support. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's headlines. EU official announces plans to combat anti-Muslim hatred. Death toll climbs in severe monsoon season. Urgent action needed. Refugees terrorized in Bangladesh. Also tonight, a ceasefire in Parachina. According to the UN Human Rights Office, OHCHR, at least 87 civilians from Sudan were interred in a mass grave in the state of West Darfur on Thursday, Anadolu Anjansi reported. According to the OHCHR, the Rapid Support Forces ordered the mass grave burial of at least 87 ethnic, Masalit and other people who were allegedly killed last month by the militia allies and the Rapid Support Forces outside the region's capital, El Janina. According to sources cited by the UN Rights Office, 37 bodies were interred on June 20th in a mass grave that was 1 meter deep and located in the El Turab El Ahmar neighborhood in western El Janina. The OHCHR revealed that another 50 bodies were buried at the same site on 21st of June, including 7 women and 7 children. In responses, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk has condemned the incident and said, "I am further appalled by the callous and disrespectful way the dead, along with the families and communities, were treated. There must be a prompt, thorough and independent investigation into the killings, and those responsible must be held to account," he added. Sudan has seen bloody clashes between the army and the RSF since April, leaving nearly 3,000 civilians killed and thousands more injured, while multiple attempts by mediators for ceasefire have failed. And now we continue with some short news. A non-governmental organization in India has requested the inclusion of Muslims in the scheme for backward classes vocational communities. The scheme involves financial assistance of 1 lakh for those who are between ages 18 and 55. For artisans and those from vocational communities, it should be noted that over 68% of BCE Muslim households find sustenance by means of daily wages, according to the G. Sudhir Committee. The IMF has approved $3 billion loan to Pakistan, aimed to support economic stabilization in this economically troubled nation and to protect it against further shocks. The loan will provide $1.2 billion in immediate disbursal, addressing Pakistan's balance of payments crisis, inflation, the rupee's low against the dollar, and the industrial output decline. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif praised the approval as a significant step in Pakistan's effort to achieve macroeconomic stability. Widespread condemnation from human rights experts for its mass deportation of Eritrean refugees. The United Nations individuals seeking asylum not only violates international law, but also raises concerns about Ethiopia's commitment to protecting vulnerable populations. UN reports reveal that the Ethiopian authorities have undertaken mass deportations of Eritrean refugees. This action disregards international law, specifically the principle of non-refoulement, which prohibits returning individuals to countries where the lives or freedoms may be at risk. In a recent militant attack on a military garrison in Balochistan, Pakistan, 15 lives, including 9 soldiers, were tragically lost. Militants launched a coordinated assault on a military garrison in Balochistan, using firearms and explosives to breach the garrison's defenses. The assailants, believed to be affiliated with the militant group operating in the region, managed to escape before security forces could apprehend them. The Pakistani government acknowledges the need to address the concerns of the people of Balochistan and to restore peace and stability in the province. The government has undertaken various counter-terrorism initiatives, including targeted military operations, intelligence-based efforts to dismantle militant networks, and improved border management to restrict the movement of militants. The tribes in Parachina have collectively agreed on a ceasefire as the clashes claimed 13 lives and many others were left wounded. According to the regional Peshawar newspaper, the ceasefire agreement had 30 members included who all signed the papers for the official ceasefire. As per the ceasefire agreements, the security will be deployed to bunkers to ensure compliance. Dr. Qaisar Abbas, the MS of Parachina, stated the death toll over the past 5 days reached at least 13, with nearly 90 individuals sustaining severe injuries during the clashes. We have reached the end of today's show. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's main headlines. EU official announces plans to combat anti-Muslim hatred. Death toll climbs in severe monsoon season. Urgent action needed. Refugees terrorized in Bangladesh. Mass grave in Sudan's Darfur reveals 87 civilian bodies, UN reports. A ceasefire in Parachina. You can view the latest news on our Shia Waves website, and you can send news of your city or country to our contact numbers at the bottom of the screen and to our website. Thank you very much for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am the partner of the sun, for he bows his head each night, so I may breathe. I am the resplendent sterling silver orb, accompanying the earth in unwavering loyalty. I come out at night